Alright, we about to get started. I ain't got much time. I'm over here late than the motherfucker. Playing with my doggy. Yeah, let me get some of this other shit off the screen. I'll be right with y'all in 1 second. Let me clear some of this other stuff out the way. Close that. Got that open. Alright, cool. I'm set up now. I'm all set up now. Oh, I'm all set up with everything except for getting my black ass off the camera. What's up, y'all? And moderators, please. Understand this, my mods. And I'm gonna talk to my mods and I'm gonna talk to everybody first. We gonna get a lot of hoe ass niggas in the chat today, all right? Because especially people from the Bronx that think they got something that has to do with a black culture. We're gonna get a lot of them niggas, and a lot of those people gonna get real mad. So anybody who has something negative to say about what I'm talking about, mods, tell them they can call in about 45 minutes when I'm done monologuing, maybe an hour or so. I will have space for anyone, and I do mean anybody, who has an issue with what's going to be talked about today. Okay? So if you're going to disagree, you can call in. But let's start this today off with a prayer. We're going to start this broadcast off with a prayer, and then we're going to get into it, okay? Don't be a hoe. Anybody that has an issue with what I'm getting ready to say today can take it up with their mama. Don't be a hoe. What we talking about today is history. There's a history in black music that goes beyond this thing called hip hop. This thing we know as hip hop is a later iteration of a long-standing black culture. Black Americans making music that changed the world, going back from ragtime to bebop to hip hop. It's some old shit we've been doing as black Americans. Creating new songs with dances and styles of dress, new ways of making music. This is an old school thing. So today's broadcast is to highlight the long-lasting longevity of greatness in black American culture that hip hop benefits from. Melle Mel, Bambooty, anybody who has an issue, just because you were there, Cholly Rock, in the early days of this particular iteration, does not give you the license to take it and claim it as anything outside of the pantheon of black American greatness. When y'all spark the flame, later on known as hip hop, you guys to remember, like I said before, you're just the spark, not the flame. The flame hip hop grew like wildfire throughout black America, and it took on the culture and personality of the city that it was in, whether it be Philadelphia, Oakland, LA, Atlanta, DC, Charlotte, Chicago, Detroit, anywhere black Americans lay their heads. This is a culture for all of us that we created out of resistance. And to start the history in 1973 at hip hop is disingenuous to all of the music hip hop sampled, because from day one, hip hop never created its own sound. It sampled the sound of black America. And in today's broadcast, we're going to prove that. So help me, Lord. And God bless. God bless, God bless, God bless. And any person that has an issue with Black Americans standing for our culture, fuck you too. In the name of God. Don't be a hoe. Don't be a hoe. Don't be a hoe. Don't act like hoes. Because it's bigger than you. It's bigger than hip hop. So we about to break all that down. And with that prayer, everyone, I would like to say amen and amen. What's up, chat room? What's up? And here we go. Again, we got people that have issues. Again, if you have issues, call in. Look at this. We got somebody that who saw the title to this show. And instead of clicking on any other thing, he chose to say, you know what? I'm going to click on that title. He says so many things with FBA other than this tired and cornball BS. Well, then Red Blitz Productions, use your YouTube channel to talk about those other things and bring light to them. Each one teach one. You be the solution for the problems that you see. But you are here with me, and I'm talking about this. So either you can get in line, learn something, or you can get the fuck out of here. I just finished praying a prayer, don't be a hoe. And the first comment I see is some hoe ass shit. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. I appreciate the super chat, Cisco Bell. Coming from Chi-Town, the home of house. Yeah, y'all need to sit down. Stop claiming blackness. Don't be a 304. These niggas is 304s. They are. So, again, if you have an issue with what's being said, you can leave. Rocky's in here asleep. All right, so let's. Okay, no. Okay, Red Bliss, I will take your apology. I will take your apology. But y'all know I'll be on one, Red Bliss Productions. You're welcome to stay. And chat room, let people stay, but tell them to call in. If you got an issue, you will have time to call in. So let's first start this off by talking about yeah, Rocky over here knocked out. What's up, Rocky? Are you up? She's home. Hold on. You up now, Rocky? Rocky always gotta stretch. Rocky wants to say what's up to y'all. Rocky says what's up. Rocky says what's up to y'all. And he says hip hop is Black American. Ain't that right, Rocky? He said, yep. Rocky said, yep. This is my nigga right here. All right, here you go. Isha? Yep. There you go, Rocky. She's there, Rocky. And you close the door and let them back in when you leave, all right? Come on, baby. All right, you close the door. And then let them back in when you leave. Okay. Okay, here we go. Had to jump in. So here we go. We got to talk about why we're talking about this. We're going to play some video from Cholly Rock and Melle Mel, and then we also going to play some other stuff from that Professor Carr dude out in Howard miseducating the youth, trying to call hip hop Black African. What we have in America, we have to understand time and place. As the former slaves of America, and as the people who have created all of American culture, the positive side of it at least, there's a constant effort to disassociate Black Americans from our creations. So they tell you things like, well, the French were in Louisiana and that's how we got jazz. They don't tell you that the Louisiana Purchase and the French having any kind of control over New Orleans have been gone for well over a half century before jazz got started. Jazz got started because after the Civil War, they had all those frontline instruments, the battle instruments. And a lot of those instruments were left in the New Orleans area. So Black Americans who were barred from using these drums and instruments during slavery were allowed to re-pick these instruments back up post-slavery. And Black Americans, like always, were segregated from everyone else. And we created this thing called jazz out of ragtime, which is another one of our creations. But when they go back and tell you the history, they'll tell you, well, it's because of French influences, but they won't tell you what the influence came from. A lot of scholarship, even in scholarship, will tell you they have French influences, but they won't tell you what. They do the same thing with hip hop. They'll say they had Latin and Caribbean influences. Okay, what were the Latin and Caribbean influences? Was it lingo, language? No. Kool Herc called himself Kool Herc, not Bumbleclock Herc, like I said before. Was it the music? No, they were sampling Black American music. Was it was it a dance out of the Caribbean or Latin America? No, those are all dances created by Black Americans here in the United States of America. Okay, DJ culture, well, the DJs, and we're going to go into DJ culture as I break this stuff down later on, how the New York DJ culture grew out of what was on New York radio. And it came from the radio to the streets. And it's because of music being taken out of the schools and the record industry not funding bands that this new style of music of looping a DJ beat took over. Not because it was some old hell of a way of making music. No, it was a cheaper way of making music. And it required, and less talented producers can make this style of making music. So because of a monetary thing and a whole thing of disassociating Black people from our roots in music, this thing called hip hop took off. There's a constant attack of separating the Black American from what we create, because when you're the slave, the former slaves of the nation, when you're the oil from which the nation powers its engine, there has to be an all-out effort to make sure that you don't know who you are. And if by some way of happenstance, you find out who you are, they have to tell you that, well, you got help from these other people. That's part of the menticide. Look up the word menticide. I know I have a very intelligent chat room, so most of y'all already know what that means. But that's part of the menticide of the Black American. You cannot do or be anything great. You need help. That's why in movies like Hidden Figures, they create the Kevin Costner character to be the white savior of the movie, even though in real life those three Black women never had that much help or that no savior. They did it on their own. But they have to always throw in other people to say, hey, Black people, look at what we did for you, when that's not the truth. The truth is we descend from superheroes that create and move on. So we're going to get in. I'm going to play this video. And as I play these videos, we're going to be here for a while today. This might be another 2.5 hour show. So y'all got to buckle in, because I got a lot to break down for y'all. So as we go on this, we're going to see the cultural continuity of the creations of Black Americans, how hip hop was created out of the same circumstances as funk, as bebop, as swing, as ragtime, how all of it was created under the same ways, in the same method, because it's a tradition that we have as Black people. And another unfortunate tradition we have as Black people is black people not knowing who we are, and the forefathers and some of the people who helped create the stuff. And so, as black people get older, they tend to lose their teeth, tend to lose their grit, and they have more disdain than less understanding of black people and more understanding of any other culture than our own because of the levels of self-hate that we have as a people. So you see Melle Mel, you see Cholly Rock, you see Bambaataa, who likes boy booty, going around defending somebody from another race over the whole of black America. And again, we got this New York problem. Not even a whole, this one isn't even all New York. This is one borough in New York, the Bronx, trying to say this is Bronx culture. Damn Harlem, damn Brooklyn, damn anybody 2 blocks away from where you live, you're willing to allow someone from another race and another culture who did nothing to contribute the culture that was created, because you have such a small inferiority context that your borough means more than the whole of the people that gave you everything you sampled from. And when I say sample, I don't just mean music. Melle Mel and the Furious Five. I mean down to even how you dress. What? I mean down to even how you dress. I think Melle Mel forgot that hip hop is a sample-based form of music that did not create anything new. I think he forgot the people that he looked up to when he was coming up. And it wasn't other hip hoppers. It wasn't nobody from the Bronx. It was these guys. Funkadelic. You even dressed like them when you got on. You even dressed like them. And let me tell you one little more bit of history before I break down what Melle Mel talked about. I know because of how vulgar this thumbnail is, I did it on purpose. I'm not calling these brothers gay at all. But black men, it's too many black men that are willing to toot their asses up for other cultures while being hard on when it comes to black people. Because black people is, come see me. I want to fight. You ain't going to see nothing when you see me. Another culture, well, he said what he said. He said what he said. Nobody with respect and cultural pride respects anybody who don't stand up for their own group of people. Not even the people you defending. Nobody respects a cultural coward from any culture. And before I get into it, Melle Mel, Cholly Rock, do you know the reason why? Do you know the reason why artists can write off their uniforms? Do you know why? I'm trying to put it up right, the case up right now. Here we go. Maybe one second. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up the case. Here we go. Do you know Here we go. I just found it. I just want to make sure I was right. You can look this up. Carmichael versus the IRS. The reason why musicians are able to write off their uniforms, Melle Mel, talking about a culture you created, The reason why you guys were able to write off these uniforms that you had right here was because of music producer James Carmichael, producer for the Commodores, everybody. When they were on tour, when he was on tour with the Commodores in the early 70s, do you know you could not write off uniforms as part of the budget? James Carmichael sued the IRS and won. And because of that foundational Black American man from Alabama, all artists moving forward can write off their uniforms. So off top, you got too much dip on your chip talking about a culture you created. You inherited a culture that you put your own little twist on. That after it got past you, Rakim put his own twist on it. Too Short put his own twist on it. Ice-T put his own twist on it. The Fat Boys put their twist on it. Run DMC put their twist on it. And Black American music and hip hop, just like every single genre we create, continues to evolve. You do get credit for creating a spark, but after that spark, it's out of your hand. But please understand the reason why you were able to create a spark was because the lighter was already made. It was just your turn to create a spark. The lighter was already made. The fuel, the gasoline was already in the lighter. The flint and the wick was already put together out of materials that had already been there. And out of the Bronx, a new spark came that was built on an already made lighter and a flame that continued to burn throughout the United States, because each section of the United States of America added its own fuel to the fire. None of that fuel came from Jamaica. None of that fuel came from Latin America. And the only reason why we're having this talk right now is because these hip hop colonizers are trying to add their shit into it. It all came from home. And you inherited all this shit, Melle Mel, Cholly Rock, Africa Bambaataa. You were given something that was already made. And for you to 50 years later try to act like you created it? Not today, homeboy. Not today. Now, let's get into it. This is what started the conversation right here. Let's go to, where did it go? Here we go.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen.
We're about to break this this down. Let's play what he said, and then we're gonna break it down line by line. In the meantime, before we start, I need y'all to go to blisscapsules.com, type in the product code Dwann B, buy 2 get 1 for free. This be good for that the energy that woo. It's that energy. It's that mind, keeping you sharp. A lot different than intellectual power. I like both. I use both actually. But these here, Bliss capsules, this is the shit right here. And go to dwannb.com to get your own t-shirt. Black people don't owe anybody anything but an ass whooping. You can get this right now at dwannb.com. Go after the show. All right. Let's get into it.
Gentlemen, the legend king himself, Grandmaster Melle Mel. What I want to try to do is bring some kind of clarity to a situation that's been floating around. And as a matter of fact, just to try to get it off the front page, you want to put, little weirdness on the back page. Now, they got this whole thing going on about, who started hip hop and who, whether Puerto Ricans was the backbone or whether black people was the backbone of the culture. Now, is no wrong answers. I don't believe in right or wrong answers, but it's results. Now, this is the bottom line. Now that everybody got their opinion, so now this is my opinion. Is no black culture. Like hip hop is not black culture. Hip hop is Bronx culture. All the shit that made hip hop, the building blocks of hip hop, it was formed in the Bronx. The first popular DJs, DJ Cool Herc, Bronx cat. The first turntables, Flash, Bronx cat. The first guy to do the scraps, Graham was a kid on. Is a Bronx cat, right? The first MC, you're looking at it. I was born and raised in the Bronx, Monsignor Hospital. The Bronx culture is hip hop culture. So the fact that if you got
all right, let's start there. Let's stop there. Way too much dip on your chip, homeboy. The first DJ. Let's break down DJ culture real fast, all right? I'm gonna need y'all to roll with me real slow. We rolling slow. Rocky in here mad at me because my wife in there eating and he want to eat. Like, nah, let her eat in peace, little nigga. Let's break this down. DJ culture did not start in a fucking park. Okay? It moved to the park. But DJing actually starts on the radio. There's a whole culture of New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Chicago DJs that rapped and mixed on the radio. The whole art of rapping and mixing starts on the radio before it goes to the park in the early 70s, okay? This did not come out of nowhere. I got some names I want you guys to look up. Let's look up. Let me give you some examples. I got some pictures over here. You got people like Fat Daddy. He was in Baltimore. What's up, Rocky? You got people like Fat Daddy. He was in Baltimore. Listen to Fat Daddy. This is Paul Fat Daddy Johnson in 1966.
Currently downtown Baltimore from the winning sound in town, WWIN. At 8:33, we have a temperature of 70 degrees downtown Baltimore from WWIN. Good morning.
Oh, my bad. It wasn't the audio wasn't on. My bad. What's up, Rocky? Oh, Rocky rarely cries. Listen to this real quick. My bad, shit's still tripping. My bad. Goddamn. There we go.
If you missed any of the action on the last part of the Fat Daddy Soul Morning Show, brother, you missed a lot.
I'm so happy to be here today. And for all of you that are searching for the answer to your problem in life, if you're ready right now, we're going to start. And this is all you got to do.
Burn, Fat Daddy, burn.
Son of a turkey, tiddly turkeys, and the bacon of a blank on the Fat Daddy Song and Soul Solidified Morning Show. This is Cholly the Noob, beginning to see the Soul Feeder, Fat Daddy, Great Cookalooka, Baltimore. You stand by for Song and Soul Solidified and Exemplified and Intensified and the Boss Mood and Hide. It's 70 degrees downtown. Good morning to you. Mostly sunny today and Thursday with highs in the mid-80s. Clear tonight with the lows 58 to 60.
Yeah, Fat Daddy rhyme. He's rhyming in a similar cadence as Melle Mel.
Good morning to you. Mostly sunny today and Thursday with highs in the mid-80s. Clear tonight with the lows 58 to 68. Recapitulating the present current WWIN temperature with 23 minutes in front of...
The radio DJs were rapping first. This is Gary Bird out of New York. Listen to Gary Bird.
Will be notified whenever Bird.
Let me take you on a journey right now inside the GBE Soul Traveling on a Thursday morning into the Black Motion Picture Experience.
If you notice, he's playing a similar bongo beat, Congo beat as Apache in the background.
Soul Traveling on a Thursday morning into the Black Motion Picture Experience. You're going to dig this trip. The music formerly written, of course, by brother Bobby Womack. This time done for you by Cecil Holmes' Soulful Sounds. Join me right now as I take you on a journey across 110th Street.
Now you hear why the early New York rappers are rapping like that. I'm rocking to the beat. I'm rocking to the beat. They were sounding like the DJs.
Inside the GBE, Soul Traveling on a Thursday, and inviting you to come with me right now and get down inside a Gladys Night of the Pips EXP. Oh, kind of a rough trip that sister's laying on the brother. Funky when you get down to the end of the road, huh? 137 from WWRL, and the climax of a Gladys Night of the Pips EXP. This is Gary Bird and the GBE. I'll be soul traveling until 3 o'clock this morning. And of course, don't forget, at 3, you're going to be tuned into our brand new brother from Buffalo, New York, our summer replacement, my homeboy. Getting down this morning at 3, it's going to be Jay Dubois. Be careful.
So, you hear those examples I'm playing. That sounds a lot like Melle Mel and the Furious 5, don't it? You remember before Rakim, that's how he rap. Hip, hop. Hip to the hippity, hop, hop, the bop, the beat, bop, the dop, to the bang, bang, boogie, up, jump, the boogie to the bing, to the boogie to be. The DJs were sounding like that. That's not original, not even to Melle Mel. Not even to Herc, not even to Coke La Rock, with respect to Herc, Coke La Rock, and those people. You see how... This is why I've always had this issue with hip-hop. Y'all inherited so much, but you can't give credit to where you got it from? You got Frankie Crocker. You got Jocko Henderson. We can go on and on and on. And if you want to know more about those DJs... You can go to the book Death of Rhythm and Blues by Nelson George, and you can go to page 89. Radio Raps and the Current Events of History. Radio Raps. There's a whole section on this in this book. So to say hip-hop isn't Black American culture, is Bronx culture, what? You stole too much for it to be your culture. Unless you say your culture is stealing. And then you always get some loser in here saying some shit like this. That I want to say, Jewish people control the culture. No, the fuck they don't. Jewish people control mainstream whatever. They control the mainstream. They don't control the culture. Shut up. The mainstream reacts to what the culture is doing. And the mainstream picks its own winners and losers outside of the culture to exploit. That's what they control. They control who goes mainstream and who doesn't. But mainstream has never been the culture. Matter of fact, by the time it gets mainstream, 90% of the time, it's far removed from the culture. Drake, Eminem, Vanilla Ice. What you get that's controlled by them ain't even the culture. It's a bastardization of the culture. Tell the whole truth, motherfucker. Roger Meadows Super says, Gary still on radio today. Yeah, Frank Trotter, yeah. He was like these young. I'm sorry, it's into my space. Audio low, Melle Mel. So yeah, appreciate the super chat. So we just getting started right now. We are just getting started. Let's keep going. You're right, Timothy. They never say thanks to this. And it's not just Southern ancestors. Thanks to what you got from Philadelphia. If you're going to tell the whole truth, you ain't even got to go. These Bronx dudes don't want to say thanks to Harlem. Hey, Noki, if you got something to say, call in. I'll open up the phone line for you now, jackass. Before I continue to cook. Hey, Noki, you got something? Only Noki call in. Noki want to talk? Noki can call in. 323-744-7425. Nobody else. Only this person on the screen. This is the only person I want calling in. Because I'm going to serve them up and then we're going to get back to this history lesson, all right? But since this person got some things to say, I got time. So instead of saying anything else in the chat, call in 323-744-7425. Let me know your area code in the chat. Please put your area code in the chat so I answer the right one. Anybody else calling in is going to get hung up on. Anybody else is calling in going to get hung up on. Call in right now or get the fuck out of here. Call in or get the fuck out of here. Let's say you remember listening to Frank Carr as a little girl with a DJ voice? Yeah, rappers sounded like radio DJs back in the day. That's right, Lady Yvette. Rappers were sounding like radio DJs. I'm rapping to the beat. Hip hop, hippity hippity hop hop. I'm rapping to the beat.
Be very careful when you buy a suit. It's not just.
This is who they were sounding like.
Man, you know, we want to hear every brother ain't a brother. Okay, you got it. Every brother ain't a brother this morning at 103 from Super 16 and a soul love story and also a great black expedition that's going to take you into the world of Langston Hughes and the tales of Simple. And the 3, don't forget to be here from the homeboy, Jay Dubois, doing his thing. WWRL Job Opportunities.
You see that? This who Melle Mel was sounding like. All right, Mod, since Noki doesn't want to call in, kick that motherfucker out. Let him go back home and suck on his mama's titties. That's the closest to a piece of he ever got. The last time he came out of one. Kick him out of here. Oh, is this him? This better be Noki. Anybody else getting hung up on?
Oh no, it's me.
What's going on? So what is your issue with what's being said?
I definitely say that my issue with what's being said is that I saw the documentary Microphone Check, and I think it's unfortunate that everybody is backtracking on these different claims as far as the creation of rap and hip hop and everything in general. Because him saying Melle Mel in particular saying that hip hop is not black culture or whatever. You got to think about this. What records were Kool Herc spinning? Black American records, funk, jazz, and soul. But that's just my claim.
Okay, so you agree?
Yes.
Oh well, then I may have had a mistake then by calling you out though. So yeah, you agree it's Black American culture. As long as you agree with that, it ain't nothing we got to talk about.
Funk, jazz, and soul. Funk, jazz, and soul. That's just the basis and the meat and potatoes. All comes from the blues. But that's all I had to say. Keep doing your thing.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah. See, we can come and be respectful after my talking shit. You know, my shit talk ain't personal. As long as we all are under an understanding of what it is. So, nigga, Dr. Sinister is a fool. All right. Somebody said I'm too focused on tetherism. Okay. What's your point? You got a problem with it? If you think I'm too focused on it, then you have a YouTube channel right now, though. Go create a channel to get other people to focus on something else. If you have a problem with what I'm doing. What you think I'm going to do? Change because you said what I'm too focused on? Who the fuck are you? Anyway, we have a tether problem that we're dealing with, so we're going to address this tether problem. So let's keep going. You good, Rocky? It's like Rocky over here. Let me all right, so let's go back to Melle Mel. We're gonna break down more of what he had to say. Let's break down more of what he had to say.
Two different sides arguing about the culture of hip hop. You didn't even say none of the Bronx guys' names. Like all this shit. Like you French. Who's all the weak? First of all, whoever's speaking about that, you wasn't even there. I'm there. I'm 16.
God damn it! I didn't say anybody call in.
If you want to talk about hip hop culture and have it being beneficial for somebody, then why ain't he supposed to benefit her? Why you can't ask somebody? Ask somebody that was there. You're just going to take it upon yourself. Don't say none of the Bronx guys' names.
Here we go. Let's go back to what he said.
So the fact that if you got two DJs, DJ Kool Herc, Bronx Cat, the first turntablist, Flash, Bronx Cat, the first guy to do the scratch, Grand Wizard Theodore, is a Bronx Cat, right? The first MC, you're looking at him. I was born and raised in the Bronx, Monsignor Hospital. The Bronx culture is hip hop culture. So
see, there we go, right there. Right there. Ira said I pulled 304 card. Appreciate the super chat, Ira. I don't want nobody else calling in right now. I gotta cook. I ain't got time to be talking to me. I just want to clear up some bullshit. But here we go right here. This is what I'm always talking about. See, y'all know, if y'all ever notice in the chat, I always get people that come in, and especially in the comments after video, did nobody ever say it was New York culture or Bronx culture? Yes, they do. Now, I'm not taking away what Melle Mel did, and as far as what they did, what they were doing in that little ass Cedric Avenue, yeah, that was the Bronx. Obviously so. But when hip-hop continued to grow, they weren't doing what the Bronx was doing. The b-boying was a dance of the day. Bronx culture, you literally heard me play the DJs that Melle Mel sound like. The Furious Five dressed like Parliament Funkadelic. The DJing culture comes from Black American radio. The dances comes from Black American music. But he's willing to cut all of that off to talk about Bronx culture. You know what else this does? It minimizes the evolution of the black sound. Same way when people try to say, oh, it was a Spanish ting that was a early part of jazz. No, first of all, it wasn't. Second of all, jazz evolves every 3 to 5 years, just like hip-hop did. Just like hip-hop did past Melle Mel. Once hip-hop hit Rakim, it never went back to, I'm rapping to the beat. Isolating a breakbeat didn't start with rap. Black American music has always had isolated breakbeats. It just wasn't called that. What happened was, as the 60s and 70s evolved, Black American music got more layered and more layered and more layered, to where hip hop just basically stripped it back to the bare bones, back to what the blues used to do. But as far as like just playing a continual beat over and over again, it was just a hip hop DJ doing what black musicians been doing. Let me give you an example. Go to the song Smokestack Lightning by Howlin' Wolf in the blues. This is how a lot of black music sounded. That beat, it gets played over and over and over. Just a loop of the same beat, just a band grooving it. Just 2 bars looped over and over and over again. So that custom of isolating a part of a song and playing it over and over again was already wet in the appetite of the black listener. It was already wet in the appetite of the black listener.
Better get up off of that thing and dance to you. Sing it now. Get up off of that thing and dance to you.
We were already looping beats. It's just that what Hurt did and what those guys did was, okay, we're going to just find different beats to do it in. Oh, and that's a great spark. But that's not the underlying current of all hip hop. Houdini didn't isolate a break beat. Houdini made music. What? Are they not hip hop? Because they didn't have a DJ isolating a break beat? Or are they still hip hop? What is hip hop? Is it just those few elements that black Americans long since evolved past in our music? Or is it the whole of black culture? Let's keep going.
So the fact that if you got 2 different sides arguing about the culture of hip hop, you didn't say none of the Bronx guys' name. Like it's all this we shit. Like you French? Who's all the we? First of all, whoever's speaking about that, you wasn't even there.
Right part there, you wasn't even there. Melle Mel, that's the like. I don't know if New Yorkers have like this tick, where it's like a Tourette's, where it's like you wasn't there. That's like just they don't think you wasn't there. Like according to Kool Herc, only 50 people were there. When you hear Kool Herc tell the stories, only about 50 people there. But at the same time, you weren't there when the DJs like Gary Bird and Jocko Henderson were rapping and doing what you imitated. Melle Mel, you were imitating radio DJs. You weren't there when they created it. You don't know where they got it from, but you speaking on it. You weren't there in LA when the LA Lockers were over here on the West Coast doing their own hip hop thing, pop locking to break beats. Or the Watts Prophets when they was rapping in 1969. You weren't there. Look at the gold chains that he's wearing. Why does Run DMC look like Isaac Hayes? The rope chains, Run DMC. Okay, this is hip hop. You're going to call this hip hop. The gold chains. You see here? Let me get the pictures. You want to call, okay, hip hop. So, okay. It's hip hop because of the gold chains. Okay, what about this? All right, that's hip hop. All right. Who did it first? Who did it first? Who did it first, Melle Mel? You weren't there in Memphis when Isaac Hayes was doing this. So how can you speak on it? You weren't there. You weren't there. You weren't there. Tell me if this sounds. Tell me something right here. Does this sound okay? If you didn't know rap, if you didn't know time and place, could you tell much of a difference? Could you tell what's rapping, what's not? You just heard a man rapping. You just heard a black man rapping with gold chains on over a looped beat. Can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference? He was rapping over a breakbeat. So did you guys start it? You right in the chat, Assad, it's that New York arrogance. That shit caused the control. We helped us lose our culture. You're right. They'll tell you this is some Bronx shit. This is some New York shit. Isaac Hayes from Memphis, nigga. He from Memphis. And you're right, Public Enemy sampled that song. So did Eazy-E. I mean, DJ Quick, born and raised in Compton. Can you see a difference? Can you see a difference? Can you hear a difference? So when Melle Mel say, I created it, excuse me, what? What? You inherited. You inherited. Let's tell it. Let's tell the whole truth. I'm gonna give Cholly Rock, but let's keep going because I haven't even gotten to the meat of what I want to talk about. So let me go to this part right here. This part right here where he made.
No, you got to get a job because that hip hop shit. It wasn't even a term of endearment. And let me just say this: when hip hop was first spoken, like in the connotation of it being something, it wasn't even a term of endearment. This is what people used to say. Now we just called it. We was just jams. We was just out in the jams. We jamming. So now people would come up to me and say, Mel, you know you got to get a job because that hip hop shit ain't gonna last forever. That was the first term that involved hip hop.
And he's right. But let me tell you something else, Melle Mel. Welcome to the party. Every generation of black people, and that's part of our issue that you're now contributing to with respect, Melle Mel. Every generation of old niggas tends to shit on the young niggas. And that's a cultural problem that we deal with. Bebop was the same thing. You can hear stories of Dizzy Gillespie saying the same stuff about bebop. Well, what's that bebop boopity bop? That's not real music. You go get a job at the factory. Motown musicians like James Jamerson and singers, they were told to go work at the plant in Detroit and make cars. You're not going to do nothing with that music stuff. What's this Motown Records? What are you doing going to Motown? That's what, if you go back to my interview with Mr. Bobby Rush was talking about when he was in his early days in the Mississippi Delta playing the guitar. He was told to go up north and get a job, not to play music. That's another cultural thing that happens over and over and over again. I was told, Dwann, You're not going to make money as a drummer. You need to go to college and get a job. I was told that too. And I ended up going to college because I was like, yeah, well, I don't want to depend on music. And I ended up going to college and getting the job. Like a lot of us did. Like a lot of your class did. You were blessed enough to have an early on hit and cultural cachet and respect that you was able to parlay into something that makes you still culturally relevant. And Mr. Melle Mel still is culturally relevant. But you didn't face anything any black musicians have to face. We all were told to go get a job. You ain't special. Hip hop ain't special. The fuck is you talking about?
That's what people used to say. And after that, then it became something. After it became a culture, then it became a positive term.
That's no different than funk. Funk was a bad word. It became popular when it was hot. Welcome to the pantheon of black music.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. You even hear this? You even hear this in going back to the song I referenced yesterday. Let's take it to the stage. Funk used to be a bad word.
Folks laughing at ya. Funk used to be a bad word.
Funk used to be a bad word. When James Brown came out with the funk, it was a bad word. Because the funk was a bastardization. They was mad at James Brown. How dare you only play a chorus with no bridge and no intro and no ending? What's the name of that song? What's the name of that song? Hold on. Let me see here. Here it is. James Brown took a lot of heat for this song right here. The way it was structured.
And sat with me and he cried. He told me a story. I know he hadn't lied.
Let me see here. Let me get to that part.
Well, be dead.
Here it is.
Education, you might as well be dead. Now don't get me wrong. He said it.
That was a song that James Brown that was called Education. Ain't it true what he said? Without an education, you might as well be dead.
And they all finished school. Now underneath this.
In that song, this is another version I wanted to play. Is it this one? I think this is the version I wanted. I'm trying to get to the vamp.
Education, you might as well be dead. One more time. Without an education, you might as well be dead.
They was telling James Brown the same thing you hear in the music. You got to go get an education. And on that song, Ain't It True What He Said? Without an education, you might be dead. He's rapping, and that whole beat is looped. But when James Brown came out with that, they were like, that song doesn't have all the elements and the parts of a song. You're just vamping a loop. What is that? That's not music. Funk used to be a bad word. What's hip hop without that beat? What is hip hop without that beat? I love that song, Funky President. Raise our food just like the man. Save our money like the mob. put up a factory and own the job. That's where you get it from. That's the culture right there. We're breaking down the culture that you inherited, Melle Mel. Cholly Rock. Go-Go says, we're watching in real time as legends destroy their reputations. Right. Denny Michael. Dwann, you're the only one speaking from a musicology anthropology standpoint. Most of these cats are speaking from personal bias. Forensic scientists are never there, but they're the ones who actually solve the case. Right. You don't have to be there to solve the case. Appreciate that. Other guy 120 said, thanks for all you keep mentioning the books on FBA music. You bought 4 today. That's right. See? Spirit McCoy, I appreciate the Cash App. Thank you for the Cash App. This goes beyond these early founders of hip hop. These early founders of hip hop were given something. They were handed the football that they're now fumbling. But just because you're the running back don't mean you own the team, Melle Mel, Cholly Rock. You're a part of the team that had a role that expounded upon a culture that was given to you. Okay? So let's keep going. We just getting started. I'm just now getting started, honestly. I'm just now getting started. We ain't even got started yet. Now, listen to this part right here.
Hip hop is black music. It's Bronx music. Everybody else's song, the go-to song in all the other boroughs, it was Love Is a Message.
He said it was Bronx music. I want y'all to hear that part again. Because I'm about to debunk him right away. I want y'all to hear that part again.
Original B-boys. They from the Bronx. Even the music where they say, hip hop is black music. It's Bronx music. Everybody else's song, the go-to song in all the other boroughs, it was Love Is a Message.
Love Is a Message. He said it was Bronx music. Love Is a Message was actually made by the Sound of Philadelphia. This is the 3 Degrees. That was the band behind the Sound of Philadelphia. Love Is a Message, MFSB, mother, father, sister, brother, family. Another cornerstone of Black American culture is the family. And Love Is a Message was a song out of Philadelphia. But Melle Mel just tried to tell you that this is New York culture. This is Philadelphia music. He said it. Let's go back to this other part. Let's go to this part right here. Because I'm breaking down a whole lot of stuff.
Look at the nickname of every other borough. Crooklyn, Moneymaker Manhattan, Shaolin. The Bronx was what? The boogie down Bronx. We was partying.
He said the Bronx was the boogie down Bronx. Where students, class, people who listen to me, where did who created the term boogie? Those people who listening to me Y'all know, my regulars, y'all know the person that created the term boogie was Lester Young. Lester Young, out of New Orleans, gained in his musical chops and got his musical chops in Kansas City. He moved to New York and brought the term boogie down. He's not a New Yorker. This is why these hip hop niggas, yes, you good music user, Melle Mel, I'll never take away your legacy as a rapper. But you don't know where you come from. You don't know your history. This is your history, homeboy. If you ever use the term boogie, hear where it came from. You ever want to use the term cool, this is who it came from. You ever want to use the term bread for making money, this is who it came from. You ever use the term homeboy, remember your homeboy, this is who it came from. This black American man out of Louisiana through Kansas City to New York. So the Boogie Down Projects named itself after a term, again, created by a black American out of black American culture. The same way Kool Herc named himself after a black American. Cool. This is the man that created the term cool. All out of one black American. But you want to say this is Bronx culture. He literally uses a term. Let's go back to him again.
Wakanda took that. That was the Bronx. Look at the nickname of every other borough. Crooklyn, Moneymaker Manhattan, Shaolin. The Bronx was what? The Boogie Down Bronx. We was
Boogie, Lester Young. That comes from bebop, homeboy. It's a bebop term. Mr. Black, I appreciate the Cash App. Appreciate the Cash App, Mr. Black. So again, hey, whoever this is in the chat, Ant Size Dick, whatever your name is. Yes, cool is a dictionary in the term. And cool always meant to cool down, to less, not hot. Lower temperature. Cool became a vibe from Lester Young. The term cool, as used as I'm cool, we good, chill. That came from Lester Young. It did not have that connotation before him. Sit your clown ass down and grab a pencil and a pad and learn some lessons, you dumb fuck. All right, back to the super chats. I appreciate that 120. You say you bought 4 books. I'll write it down. I appreciate that. OGT said we can call it the crash out for the cash out. I like that one. Crash out for the cash out. Appreciate that, Feeder Speaks. Keep up the great work. You're a math teacher, FBA. I appreciate that. So again, the Boogie Down Projects. Well, thank Lester Youngs for the boogie. It's not the Ross Clot Down Projects, is it? It's not the Goya Down Projects. It's the Boogie Down, not the Goya Down. So selfish. Why y'all so selfish? God damn, why y'all so selfish? So let's go to the next part. Selfish motherfuckers.
to be divisive. That whole thing, we gotta put all that on. You see what I'm saying? It's not is not a thing to be divisive. That whole thing, we gotta put all that on the.
Yes, it is to be divisive. And here's the reason why it's divisive. Because hip-hop was shitted on by the mainstream. Just like bebop was. Just like funk was for a long time. That was known as black music. It was known as race music. Hip-hop to bebop. Hip-hop was known as race music. The fuck do you mean not be divisive? That's the goddamn culture and context from which it was created. Jazz and Justice and the political economy, racism and the political economy of music. If you want to understand why racism and the whole race matters when it comes to music, read, nigga. Even in this book right here, I was just reading this a little bit earlier when they were talking about, where's that part? I didn't bookmark that part I was reading. God damn it. Look at this part right here where it's talking about Dizzy Gillespie and bebop. Not only was he an innovator in jazz, he also set fashion standards for other musicians and people around the world. Bebop was a culture too. The dark brim glasses, the single-breasted suit. Bebop said, we not wearing them zoot suits and them baggy-ass double-breasted suits. We wearing single-breasted suits. And it was the culture for a long time. But let me see if I can find that part I was reading earlier. When they were talking about basically hip-hop. Hip-hop basically is a commercialization of Black American culture. Basically tying Black American culture to, let me see. Tying Black American culture to basically the low vibrational, low levels of the grander Black culture. It was a way to quantify Black culture into basically isolate Black culture to the ghettos. Even the, okay, fine, I'm not going to look for it now. I was just reading it earlier and I did not bookmark it. Even the term hip. The term hip isn't even exclusive to hip hop. The term hip isn't even exclusive to hip hop. Hip was always a Black term. Hip always meant cool. That's why white people that were dressed like Black people from the upper Northwest Seattle were called hippies. What is hip?
Hip, tell me if you think you know what is hip. If you really hip, the past and the years will show.
What is hip? Hip was a word that been around. Hip meant cool. That was another word for cool. I'm hip. And hip hop was named similar to bebop. Bebop was named bebop because the older generation that listened to swing and the older generation that listened to Cab Calloway and that sound, they were like, what's that hippity, that beboppity boobop? The reason why bebop was named that was because of the bebop pace of the music. Music like Salt Peanuts. That's why it was called bebop. They were like, what's all that bebop, beebity-bop, boop-bop? The old niggas, it was called bebop because the phrasing sounded like... That's why it was called bebop. The same reason why hip-hop was named hip-hop, because it sounded like a hip. Old people, I remember watching the Cosby Show, they be like, what's all that hip-hop, hippity-hop, pop, hip-hop? Yeah. Straight up and down cultural continuity. He said, Mel was speaking on a song, Apache being a foundation of hip-hop. Is it? Is Apache a foundation of hip-hop? Or was that just a song that they used? Is it? When again was that a beat similar to that ever used? Or was it James Brown? Was it Apache? Because, and plus, like I said, if I go back to here.
Of the Fat Daddy Soul Morning Show.
Where is that?
We have a temperature of 70 degrees, 70 wind degrees, downtown Baltimore.
Was it this one or was it this one? I think it was this one.
The music formerly written, of course, by Brother You're going to dig this trip. The music formerly written, of course, by Brother Bobby Womack. This time done for you by Cecil Holmes.
You talking about that Congo part in Apache? Yeah, that was an early song that they used. One of many. What was the first breakout hit in hip-hop? It wasn't Apache. It was Rapper's Delight.
Here's Wonder Mike, Hank, and Master G, the Sugar Hill Gang.
Apache was just the intro.
Here's Wonder Mike, Hank, and Master G, the Sugar Hill Gang.
That's not Apache. That intro part was Apache. That was Good Times. It wasn't Apache, it was Good Times. Apache had a small part on the drums, but that wasn't the underlying beat of the song. The underlying beat of the song was Good Times. Like, that's what I mean. You see how easily a black person X's out the black part? If it was just Apache, it wouldn't have been a song. The part that got people to dance was Good Times. How do you leave that out? Appreciate that, Tito. How do you leave out Good Times? The underlying beat of the song is Good Times, not Apache. This is what I mean. This is why I have no issues challenging a Melle Mel, a Cholly Rock, or Africa Bambaataa, because I got my motherfucking ancestors behind me. Bernard Edwards, rest in peace. That's his song. Now Roger's still here. That's his song. Y'all gonna stop fucking with my black American ancestors. I ain't playing with that shit. I honor mine. You're right. You can't tell me beans and cornbread isn't a rap. You're right about that. Beans and cornbread had a fight. Beans, not cornbread, out of sight. I'll be ready. Louis Jordan.
Not cornbread.
Bread. Yeah, he's rapping. Louis. I've been telling y'all Louis Jordan. I remember on my interview with Lord Jamar, I put Lord Jamar on to who Louis Jordan was. And Lord Jamar's a legend. He didn't even know who Louis Jordan was. Louis Jordan was always rapping.
Right, fellas, they match. Take me right back to the track. Jack, choo choo, choo choo, boogie, woo woo, woo woo.
We was already doing it. Melle Mel. You guys were inherited. That's why I have no issues going up against these guys. They X'd out everybody they got the game from, and that ain't right. We'll make sure that we write people like Melle Mel and Cholly Rock out of the history if they continue to do bullshit like this, because you two ain't worth the greater good of Black American music history.
The back page, who's Puerto Rican, who's Black, you know what I mean? That's not the issue. And the glory is supposed to go, like I said, to the creators. I can sit here and say,
he said the issue isn't who is Black, who is Puerto Rican, and the glory should go to the creators. But he just said, according to my people, you said, okay, he was talking about Apache. All right, cool. Apache was the intro. The song was Good Times. He gave no credit to Good Times by Chic. So what do you mean give credit to the originators? You ain't even giving credit to them.
I built the pyramid, and Hotep and them built the pyramid. I ain't built shit. If you could say Black people build hip hop, you didn't build shit. You looking at one of the guys that did it.
It's that right there. You didn't build shit. You're looking at one of the guys that did it. Built it off what foundation? And that's the problem. We have a group of people that are having a concerted effort to say that Black people did not build the foundation of what's known as hip hop. And it has all these other influences that nobody can point to and name. And we're trying to throw it against that because we don't want yet another one of our art forms going to somebody who don't like us. It's high time that Black youth, Black people have pride for what we create. Because other cultures don't share. When you go back and listen to the history of Latin jazz, they don't give credit, well, in the early days, but now, go to a Latin music concert now. They don't bring up Horace Silver. They don't bring up Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie. Hell, they barely even most of the time, they don't even bring up Machito and Mario Bauza, who are both Cubans, because they were dark Cubans. Latins don't give any credit. They don't even give mention to the Black artists that gave them the game. And you over here trying to say it don't matter? Let's keep going.
I was there. I know everybody else that's talking about it wasn't there. But the thing, as far as that personalized it for me, was that I read and it was in one, and they called Joe a white Puerto Rican. I don't know about all that. He's Puerto Rican.
See, a lot of these, it's bigger than hip hop. It's bigger than music. Puerto Ricans have the right to classify themselves however they want. On Fat Joe's arrest record, it shows white. He said he's white. Where's the record? Let me see here. I'm going to get those super chats in 1 second. Where's the one? I want the one with the race part. I can't find it. You guys could look it up. I'm not gonna allow no fucking ads. Fuck you, Billboard. You gotta look up his arrest record. I'm trying to find it. But if you look on here when he was booked, when Fat Joe was booked, it showed white on his race. I'm gonna see if I can find that shit. Where is it? Damn it, I just had that shit up. Where is it? Hold on, y'all. I gotta find this. I just saw it. Let's see, what if I go to Twitter? Because Twitter be an easier place to find shit sometimes. Hold on. Where is it? I'm not about to spend all day looking for that shit. You guys can find it. You guys can find it. You guys can find it. Damn it. Where is it? Oh, I cannot find it. I wanted to find it for y'all. You guys could look it up. But when you go back to his tax evasion lawsuit, under race, when he got arrested, when he got booked, it shows white. So it shows that Fat Joe identifies as white. And most people of his skin tone identify as white. They can choose to identify as black, as native. He chooses to identify as white. So Melle Mel has been very naive when he talks about the whole white part. He never heard of a white Puerto Rican. That means you haven't paid attention to the world you live in. And that's concerning from a brother that created a song called The Message. And then I'm going to get to this part right here.
Bad? Everybody ate off the shit, but if it wasn't for the Bronx, and you gotta remember that, and you gotta respect that. All like I said, we gonna put all this shit on the back page. Y'all could keep doing girls on the internet about who said what or who shot John, but you ain't gonna be husky when you see these niggas. So stop. The hip hop
right there. You ain't gonna be husky when you see these niggas. Why do these people who are intellectually dishonest always want to take it back to fighting? Nobody trying to fight nobody. Ain't nobody trying to fight Fat Joe. Ain't nobody trying to fight Melle Mel or any of these people. It ain't about fighting. It's about information. It's about information. And getting down to the nitty gritty on who's telling the truth and who not. Why you niggas always want to take it to fighting? Crazy Legs want to fight. You niggas that goddamn dumb. You always want to fight.
culture is Bronx culture. There is no hip hop. That's second. The initial culture is Bronx culture. Something that Bronx niggas put out to the world that turned into hip hop. We gave that to y'all. Everybody could win. But
how you gave us a regurgitated form of what we already. How can you give us something that we already had? That's my question. How do you give us something that we already had? The Chic version of the song was better than your version of the song. Good Times is still a classic. Like, how can you give us something that we already had? And that's why I had my breakdown the way I had it today. To show you that we already had everything that you call hip hop. We already had it. And then listen to bring it all together. Listen to this part in his song. I can't play too much because I don't want to get a strike. But this is one of his newer songs. To be the king of the bebop swing. That was Melle Mel's words in his own song. The bebop swing. Bebop was not swing. Bebop was a counter revolution to swing. The same way hip hop was the counter revolution to rhythm and blues and what was going on in R&B. R&B had gotten too commercial and cheesy by the 80s. By design of the government, by the way. So hip hop came in to be the counter and to be the street, to take black music back to the streets. Because by the time the 80s came along, rhythm and blues had gotten too far into the mainstream. No different than into the 40s, swing was getting too far in the mainstream with Benny Goodman and those guys. So bebop came to bring it back to the streets. You didn't say I'm the king of the bumbleclot reggae swing, did you? Of the bebop swing. Neither bebop nor swing are Bronx culture. The places where bebop and swing thrived in New York was actually in Harlem. Both sounds don't come from New York, but the areas that bebop and swing come from, that they thrived in once they got to New York, was Harlem. So you being the king of the bebop swing, neither bebop nor swing got a goddamn thing to do with the Bronx. Those were his words, not mine. I'm only going off your words.
My legacy, I was born to be the king of the bebop swing that has stands.
And listen to the beat.
Big diamond ring to own the castle in the.
That's Money, Money, Money by the OJs. Philadelphia. 3 movies and references. None of them have to do with the Bronx. You're rapping over a beat that's Money, Money, Money by the OJs from Ohio. Produced in Philadelphia, king of the bebop swing, bebop Kansas City. What are we talking about? One of the kings of swing was Count Basie. He's from Red Bank, New Jersey. The king of swing, the real king of swing, is Duke Ellington. The Duke, the king of swing, is right here. He's from Washington, D.C. The king of the swing is from D.C. You're rapping over Money, 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 Ohio, OJ's, production, Philadelphia, bebop, Kansas City, swing, DC. Chat room. Chat room, am I missing something here? Am I missing something? We got 900 people in here and only 600 likes. I need the likes to come up to about closer to 800. Need to be at 800 likes by the time I get up out of here. But do you see how far they have to ignore? They got to step on so many black people to pat themselves on the back. He just start calling ICE. So there we go. Now that takes us over here to Cholly Rock. Cholly Rock, if you go back and listen to this, doesn't deny that Black Americans were all over the creation of hip hop. But listen to this part right here, and then we're going to break Cholly Rock down.
You know what? Had I known that it was being used as a tool with all this FBA bullshit, I wouldn't have done it.
Wow.
He's talking about mic check. That was him saying if he knew that mic check was going to be about FBA bullshit, he wouldn't have done it. And it wasn't about FBA bullshit. It was about getting down to the truth of who created the sound.
I'm telling you straight like that.
But to be honest, I don't think it was on that. I think I feel it. I don't think it was for the FBA stuff. It was just to correct the lies. But all right. Here's the question: when you did the documentary, and you looked at it after it was all completed and done,
I have not seen it. Still to this day,
you haven't seen it.
So he's basically dissing a documentary that he's in that he hasn't seen. This seems to be a common thing with you Bronx niggas. Y'all tend to not want to learn anything outside of what you already know. And that's a problem. You tend to not... I'm just seeing a pattern between Melle Mel not knowing what a white Latino is.
Okay.
And him not even watching. You tend to not want to know more than what's outside of your little bubble. Maybe that's why you could take so much sample music and act like it was just already there and you created it. Because you tend not to care about things outside of your bubble. And that's a problem.
Hey, well, basically, it was you and a group of people, DJ Faze as well. We had Cornbread. We had Disco King Mario's daughter. We had Coke La Rock. We had Shy Rock. Shout out to Shy Rock. And a lot of others that was basically saying that the Caribbeans or the Jamaicans and the Puerto Ricans, they did not create hip hop, but
First
they participated.
of all, I'm going to correct this right now. I've never heard any Jamaicans make that claim that they created hip hop. Never.
But
he just said he never heard Jamaicans claim that they created hip hop. So right here, Cholly Rock isn't even in tune with what's going on right now in the greater cultural fight. He obviously just has an issue with Tariq. And I see that a lot. People have issues with Tariq. Tariq is a polarizing figure, you know? I get it. You know, people, I be listening to Twitter spaces and he pisses a lot of people off. But that doesn't change the evidence that Black American music, that hip hop is just an extension of Black American music.
Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes did. But go ahead, sir.
Yes, I only talk to people who I know was there.
I only talk to people who I know was there. That's what he just said. First of all, he didn't know Busta Rhymes said that. Then he said, I only talk to people who I know was there. Okay. So you're not, again, when you listen to some of these people, these old school New Yorkers, Melle Mel, Cholly Rock, they're telling you they're not even interested in information outside of the Bronx. So what does that tell you as a researcher? That tells you that these people never even took time to find out if Yes, I'm doing this thing that I call hip hop, but was anybody else doing it at the same time? You don't even know. Because according to your words, you only speak to people who was there.
Now,
that's the only people I talk to. I know we're there. I know them personally. We ran together. Okay? Everybody else is telling you third-party accounts and everything. That includes Busta Rhymes or whatever. And I've never heard him. Well, whatever Busta Rhymes saying. The person who is the father of hip hop is Kool Herc, who is from Jamaica. He has never made the claim that Caribbeans started hip hop.
You hear that?
Never.
He said Kool Herc never made the claim. He said Kool Herc never made the claim that Caribbeans started hip hop. So while he's agreeing with what's in Mic Check, he got smoked for Foundation of Black Americans.
Nor has he ever made the claim that his influence was Caribbean music. And I was at Kool Herc parties. He wasn't playing reggae music.
so where did we get this mishap? Because we, like the Trinity, Flash.
Because people, where did we get this mishap? Is because your FBA people have a particular agenda.
Wait.
He said, he was asked, where did we get this mishap? And Cholly Rock said, because of the FBA people. Not Busta Rhymes saying that Black Americans have no culture, which is what got me on the internet talking about this. I was just new to YouTube when Busta Rhymes said that. I had just gotten on YouTube. I probably had 1,500 followers on this channel at that time. I was talking news and politics. I was talking about this upcoming Trump election. I wasn't thinking about talking music, because when I talked about music, my music Facebook posts back in the day was getting like 3 likes. I just figured, niggas didn't care. I've always cared about. I've been talking about how hip hop needs to reunite with the blues. I've been saying that, but there wasn't much interest, and unfortunately, from Black Americans. There wasn't much interest in our history. Most Black Americans weren't trying to hear shit about hip hop and bebop and all that stuff back in the day. But when Busta Rhymes said that bullshit, that changed everything. Let me show you here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here it is. This is where it really got started, right here.
Indian has the great in the urban community. The Latino and the West Indian has the greatest influence, and we've always had, and we'll always will. In the urban community, the Latino and the West Indian has the greatest influence, and we've always had, and we'll always will.
That's where it started. Let me see if I here's longer. I'm gonna see the longer clip. Here's a longer clip.
Has the greatest in the urban community. The Latino and the West Indian has the greatest influence, and we've always had, and we'll always will. Because the U.S. ain't got no culture. They shit is all our shit. A bunch of our shit is what makes the U.S. whatever you want to call it. We still don't know what that culture is for the U.S., but
Puerto Ricans and blacks created hip hop. Jamaica gave birth to hip hop.
In the urban community.
See, these cultural sellouts like Cholly Rock and Melle Mel and Africa Bambaataa ain't got no smoke for busters. Literal busters. But they want to come at us for defending our culture. This is how long I've been. This is a Facebook post from 2017. Long before it got popular to talk about this. Look at this. This is a post I put up. 11 likes. Look, let me tell you. Look, for those of you who call me, think I just came out of nowhere. I was talking like this long before I got on YouTube in 2020. This is 2017. Look at this post I put up in 2017. For those, and also for you niggas that are coming around here who got a bone in your ass for Tariq, because a lot of you punk ass bitches got issues with Tariq, so y'all coming around talking to me like I give a fuck. If you got an issue with Tariq, go suck his dick. Leave me the fuck alone, bitch. I'm on my own thing. This is me long before Mic Check. Long before I even got on YouTube talking about music. Look at my post. Let me read it. Complaining about young people's waste is young people's music is a waste of time. In the 1920s, people loved ragtime but hated young folks' jazz music. Going back to what you said, Melle Mel, I wrote this before your fucking interview. In the 1930s, old people hated young people's blues music. In the 1950s, those who grew up on American standards hated this new thing called rock and roll. In the 1960s, people that listened to straight ahead jazz hated John Coltrane's bebop era jazz and hard bop. In the 80s, old people hated this new thing called hip hop. Today, old people hate mumble and what's out today. This is how I've been talking. You niggas are new to me. I'm not new to the music. I've been here. If you found me through Twitter or through a documentary, welcome. But you're new to me. I'm not new to this. Look at how many likes I got. 11. It's my nigga Larry's birthday. Happy birthday, Larry. Larry was right there. Larry tell you. I had 11 likes. Look at the song Salt Peanuts. This was hip hop in the 1940s. Bebop and hip hop are two sides of the same coin. 9 likes. 9 likes. Wasn't nobody fucking with this kind of information back then. Black people didn't really give a fuck about this kind of information. But Busta Rhymes, when he said this, woke up a sleeping giant.
In the urban community, you know, the Latino and the West Indian has the greatest influence, and we've always had, and we'll always will, because the U.S. ain't got no culture. They shit is all our shit. A bunch of our shit is what makes the U.S. whatever you want to call it. We still don't know what that culture is for the U.S., but
Puerto Ricans and blacks created hip-hop. Jamaica gave birth to hip-hop.
That's how this started. That's how all this stuff started. Had Busta Rhymes not said that, I would still be writing posts that got 9 likes. No one would give a fuck about what I had to say, because no one gave a fuck about what I had to say, until Busta Rhymes lit that match. Until Busta Rhymes lit that match. Now, with that being said, anybody got an issue with anything that I said, call in. 323-744-7425. Got an issue, call in. Chat room, anybody that's been talking shit, tell them, to call in, put your number In the chat, not your number, but your area code, so I know that's you calling in. And let me break down and bust down anything negative you have to say. Let me go back to these super chats. Let me go back. Here we go. I read down beans and cornbread is rap. Yep. Fitted speaks. Indigenous people cultivated beans for thousands of years. Beans are not Puerto Rican culture. That's FBA too, right? And so is cornbread, especially hot water cornbread. What's up, caller? Hold on 1 second. COS Dre says, I respect your musical knowledge, bro, but you can't use Rapper's Delight as a point of reference. Yes, I can use it as a point of reference because that's the song. That's the song that crossed, that brought hip hop to the masses. Matter of fact, when you're using, let me give you COS Dre. Let me help you out. When you're studying something, you gotta point to what got that thing in front of the world. Nobody knew what was going on in New York until that song came out. And that is what got hip-hop ingratiated to the world. Okay? Yes, I can use that part for that very specific reason. Because it was that beat that made hip-hop come in as someone credible. Because again, hip-hop never used its own beat. It's a borrowed beat from a borrowed genre that has nothing but borrowed information and borrowed illness. 499 from Infinite Wellness. Thank you. Appreciate the super chat. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Dwann? This is Mr. Black calling from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Mr. Black from Cincinnati, Ohio. What's on your mind?
Man, I came to call, man. Last time you told me to call up because I had a little discrepancy about funk and the home of funk. I ain't had no time to call last time. But no, I did some research, and it just goes to show this could be a lesson for those New York cats that sometimes you hear something your whole life, and until you actually sit down unbiasedly and research that shit, you might think that what you heard all them years is the 100% truth. And sometimes it has somewhat truth to it, but that's deeper. It's a deeper story, and you got to kind of find that out on your own. You know what I mean? So I come from a musical family, you know what I mean? Like I told the family in the chat that, you know, one of my cousins is Boosie Collins. So, you know, Collins is a big family in Ohio, one of the largest families in Ohio. So,
Baby Baba.
You know, just me growing up. Yeah, you already know. And, you know, me coming up around that era and coming up around seeing all that type of stuff like that, you know, I just always thought of Dayton, Ohio, it's signs everywhere posted, Southwest Ohio, the home of funk and all this, you know, from James Brown having his music, his record company here in Cincinnati, Ohio, to being signed to Cincinnati, Ohio record company. You know, that's just us taking our ownership of and being proud that James Brown called this place home at one point in time. You know what I mean? And made some good music with some good local artists. But, you know, sometimes you got to be able to bend that knee and say, man, you know, somebody's right. And you was right, nigga.
I appreciate that, dog. And again, it's not because I want to minimize Ohio, because my favorite brand of funk, even though we had funk in LA before it got to Ohio, my personal favorite brand of funk is Ohio funk. And I'm an LA guy. Like, if I'm going to choose the funk bands, I'm like I love War, but I like Slave more. You know what I mean?
Right.
I love, like, Lakeside is from Ohio, but they got blown up in LA at Solar Records. You know? Yeah. And it really is the cross-cultural connect. Black music pop off when I take what I got from my side of town, you take what you got from your side of town, we put that shit together, and then it evolves, and boom. That's where the greatness comes from. King Records is in there, and it's easy for me to see people from Ohio make that mistake because King Records was in Cincinnati, but King Records was a company that was already there. James Brown bought King Records. He didn't found it in Cincinnati. It was already there. and they were doing
Yeah,
bebop.
it was already there, and they signed him. But what happened was he made them sign him to a deal where he created his own record company inside of
Yeah.
King Records.
Yep, and
So
then
that's kind of what happened.
and he's from South Carolina. Clyde Stubblefield is from Tennessee. You know, and
right.
And when then they got there, and then from there. But I appreciate you saying that because that's something that I grew up thinking Ohio was a home of funk too, to tell you the truth. But when I opened the book, I was like, oh shit, it's bigger than that. But I appreciate you for being able to do that.
Just before I get out of here, though, you said something that was real that right then and there, you know, because the family, they was on my ass in the comments, and I'm like, I'm at work, I can't even really get back like I want to, but you said something, so I still remain, listen, I ain't getting my feelings or nothing, but you said something like, everybody's selfish, everybody wants their own little claim to this, and I was like, man, you know what, he right about that shit, because, yeah, we are small as far as stature, and we do want our credit. But you got to be able to let the team win versus trying to say, man, I just want my win. So you blessed me with some game on that shit. So I just had to go ahead and pay homage, send you that cash app, get on here, admit my wrongs, so the young men out there can see that you can be wrong about some shit and it's all good and keep it pushed.
Yes, sir, man.
So
I appreciate the call.
let you go with that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you already know.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all about learning. Most of that I'm teaching y'all right now, I had to learn. I have my own preconceived notions too. He said, OGT Mine said, Buster Bug need to find a booty hole to whisper sweet nothings into. Y'all niggas are stupid in the chat. Oh, John, I appreciate the Cash App. Much appreciation on the Cash App, John. Yes, sir. Anybody else call in? 323-744-7425. But you see, between Bambata, Melle Mel, Cholly, these cats are more, they're so selfish for their little small little corner of a city. They're not even representing New York. They done narrowed this shit all the way down to the Bronx. Damn. They not even saying New York, homie. They saying the Bronx. We got 950 people in here on YouTube and only 700 likes. I need to be above 900 likes. We got 500 here on Twitter, X. I need 500 retweets of this show. See, when it comes down to it, we're not going to win as a culture until we understand that it's the greater black culture that is this thing called hip hop, neo soul, soul, jazz, rock and roll, heavy metal, blues, country, bluegrass, zydeco, go-go, lo-fi, disco, big band, bebop, hard bop. It's the greater black American culture that this is all born out of. But when you try to narrow it down to your city, you miss the big picture. Because not only do we create this stuff, it always continues to evolve. Hip hop, as done by Grandmaster Flash, as done by Melle Mel, that was a time. It's long since evolved. Hip hop has had 20 different new births since the time of Melle Mel. It has the Oakland feel. Do you know? And I talked to Too Short personally about this on the phone one time. Too Short started in 1980 the same way LL Cool J started in 1980. Do y'all know that? Too Short and LL Cool J started rapping the same year, 1980. And that was according to a conversation that I had on the phone with Too Short through somebody else that I know. I don't know Too Short. I can't call. I'm not gonna sit there in hindsight and say I called Too Short. No, it was somebody that I knew that knew Too Short. And when they were on the phone with him on FaceTime, they put him on the phone with me because that particular person, V, saw my Black American music family tree. He saw what I'm doing. And he was like, man, I got Short on the phone. Me and Short talked for like 20 minutes. And we was talking about the early days. And I didn't know Too Short started the same year as LL. I didn't even know that. But I heard that from Short's mouth itself. So when y'all talk about, you wasn't there, nigga. You wasn't there in Oakland to see Too Short do what he was doing either. The whole term, get it out your trunk, hip-hop started to sell out the trunk on the West Coast. Master P got the game from Oakland. Master P was in Oakland and learned and saw the hustle that MC Hammer, the hustle that Too Short was putting in. And he took that game back down in New Orleans and created No Limit. Everywhere you go, it's a black people cross-pollinating the gifts. And their contributions. Let me see if I can find this picture. I'm going to show y'all something. Here we go. One of the grandfathers of R&B was Dave Clark. One of the people that really got the R&B sound that your hip-hop guys later on borrowed a lot from was Dave Clark. He's one of the original promoters on promoting and getting black artists hooked into venues. He laid the groundwork for the hip-hop guys to come in later. But hip-hop owes everything to people like Dave Clark, who opened doors to get black artists in venues. And he's from Florida. It's a team effort. I'm very clear on my agenda. My agenda is to show the overall greatness of Black American music, to prove to you, not give you my feelings, not give you my opinions, but to prove to you that everything in hip hop stands on what Black Americans did before it with no help from nobody else, because we're in the United States and we're segregated. The United States is a segregated place. So by the time other people get to what we're doing, it's after we've already gotten good at what we do. It's after we learned in church how to be musicians. After we learned how to dance at home with our brothers and sisters and at family reunions with our cousins. And then it was Soul Train out of Chicago that was in Chicago for 1 year and spent the rest of his time in LA, that the dances in hip hop and Black American culture got spread around. The world got to see what dances black people was doing through Soul Train. That's LA. For all this birth of hip hop, why don't y'all ever give credit to LA for having the first hip hop only radio station? If hip hop is New York culture, then where's the original New York radio station that plays only hip hop? If it's such New York culture, that means in 1979, there should have been a radio station that was exclusive to hip hop. It should not have taken LA to create a radio station exclusive to hip hop if this is New York culture. It should not have taken Chicago to create Soul Train and LA to cultivate Soul Train for hip hop to thrive. The Arsenio Hall Show. How do you have the story of hip hop without the Arsenio Hall Show? Hip hop couldn't go on Jay Leno, Dave Letterman. David Letterman was right there in New York. If it was such New York culture, then why didn't David Letterman give, or Johnny Carson, why didn't they give hip hop a chance if it was so New York culture? Y'all had talk shows in New York. It took the Arsenio Hall Show here in LA to give hip hop acts its first live performances on national television. How do you guys leave out so much? It's straight up little dick syndrome is what it is, Bronx. Y'all got little wee-wees out there? Y'all just so jealous of the niggas from Harlem and they swag that you just had to say, oh, fuck everybody in the Bronx. You mad about the Harlem Renaissance and Harlem niggas getting what they do? You mad? I feel so insignificant. I have to take everything you gave me and say it's mine. Fucking weirdos. That's little dick energy. Little dick syndrome. I'm gonna take this last call. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, man? Sincere Ahmed. I'm in South Carolina.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
Hello? Is this live on the air right now where people can hear?
Yes.
All right, listen. First of all, let's clear this up, man. I agree with every point that you said. First of all, this is a Black American thing, a Native Black American thing. And on top of it, this shit was not created in New York. It's created all throughout and together. And I got a few other proofs that you could pull up on YouTube and show people from like the 60s and the 50s doing hip hop. And I ain't talking about hip hop sounding like bebop. I'm talking about hip hop like it sound the way now, like the 80s. And I got a few files for you to pick up. Mm-hmm. If I send them in the link, you'll be able to click on them.
Send them, email them to me.
Okay, I'm gonna email that
info
to you.
at DwannB.com.
Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Info
at DwannB.com.
Info at DwannB.com.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send that right now because all this, and I'm from Jersey, straight up. It started in New York is bullshit. That's bullshit. This shit started way before some 70s shit. And then Melle Mel and them, it started before that. They caught on the stuff that people was doing before they did it, and that's how they start doing it. You know, because I even saw the old stuff you pulled up a long time ago, showing the lady with the 2 turntables DJing on the radio or whatever she was DJing way back then.
Yep.
And not to mention that none of them other cultures to this day stuff goes around the world the way Black Americans do. Who went around the world like Michael Jackson? Nobody. Now, I'm talking about every culture. I don't care which culture you pick. I ain't saying they don't make a hit record, but they don't go around the world like ours do. Australia and Japan right now. It's Tokyo right now. It's everywhere right now. And
it's
always
everywhere.
And not just in hip hop, always has been with R&B, with bebop, and always has been. And none of that other stuff go around the world. And I don't care what country they from. And that's just facts. But right, man, I'm gonna send you this. I'm gonna send you this thing, and hopefully you can play it now when you can bring it up on the screen and click it. Because these are old school dudes in the 60s and 50s doing hip hop. I'm gonna email it to you right now.
All right, that'll work.
And one more time, one more time. What was that email again?
Info at DwannB.com.
Info at DwannB.com. All right, I'm gonna do it now.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The point that the person that he's talking about 2 turntables, talking about Mary D. Dudley. This is the image he's talking about right here. Mary D. Dudley. 2 turntables. All of that DJ culture comes out of the actual DJ, the DJs, the disc jockeys. You see this? That's not done in New York. That's out of Philly. That's right there. Where I just sent you was out of Philly. And I'm glad you talked this. It's one more thing I wanted to talk about right here. And that was this David Carr dude. Because these dudes always want to throw Africa into the mix. See, David Carr is a historian, but he ain't a drummer. Let's listen to this bullshit. And let's break this down. Wait, here. No, my bad. You couldn't hear. Let me go back.
The final thing is, again, about culture, too, even as we, I was talking to somebody yesterday about this whole fight. They fighting over where hip-hop started. It started in Africa. Stop that beef. And the final thing is, again, I know I'm going back in the classroom next week. I know a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Here it is.
Stop that beef. And the final thing is, again, I know I'm going back in the classroom next week.
He said it started in Africa.
19, 20-year-olds going to say, Dr. Carter, did you see this TikTok with Fat Joe? Did you see this over here with Lord Jamar and who started hip-hop? And I'm going to remind them next week that this Saturday we spend a community in the real grounding space where we do the classroom work and education work, that it was the 11th of January 11th, 1879, that marked the beginning of the Anglo-Zulu War. I'm bringing it up, but remember that those battles, which then, in terms of movement and memory through a social structure that we didn't start, who's used us racially, movies were made. One of them called Zulu with Michael Caine, who some people only know because he played Alfred in Batman trilogy. But that movie captured the imagination of a young man in New York, who then created a whole movement coming out of the Black Spades, Baby Bam, created a whole movement based on those movies called the Zulu Nation. Now I'm saying today is the anniversary of the war that was in the movie that this young boy saw. He said, I'm going to keep that with me, regardless of what you think about Bambaataa or not, the Zulu Nation. And we arguing over where hip-hop started in Africa, friends. Its modality, its cultural meaning making, even its movement and memory, because the Black Spades, if you listen to the Herculoids in their song dedicated to Bambaataa, he said, y'all listen, I'm going to tell you how the Black Spades became the Zulu Nation. The point is that those guys were banging in the street, Blacks, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, they came together to solve community problems. The dancing and the music came after the organizing. We're not going to fight the more we know. So stay off of social media. And let me stop there. On the day.
No, don't stop. Because instead of
He mentioned everything except for the music. He said hip-hop was born out of blacks and Puerto Ricans coming together fighting as a Black Spades. They came together fighting in L.A. too, but it wasn't no Puerto Ricans in the night. Look, that's why these pseudo and these are the people that they put in universities. He's made that big ass jump from one movie. Even though Africa Bambaataa themselves called themselves Junior Parliament, they were Junior Funkadelic. Everything they was doing was Funkadelic musically, and how they moved was Parliament Funkadelic. And he brought in Africa because of a movie. And when it comes to the early 70s, everybody was revolting. LA was in revolt. The Crips and the Bloods were born out of the Panthers being dismantled. The Vice Lords in Chicago. Everywhere Black Americans live had resistance culture. Not just New York. That's why there were hip-hop scenes in multiple places. New York is just what gets the credit. Yeah, Carr been doing this stuff. I'd debate Carr any day. Carr don't want to see me when it comes to music. He does not want to see me. And these huge jumps in times. While Black people, let's just go back to how they work. The formula works. The formula works by ignoring. You have to ignore 98% of what was going on to give credit to these other people. And then when you give credit to those other people, you'll find out they were still listening to Black Americans. A whole culture was built off of a movie most people didn't see. You see how they work? You see how they work. They do the same thing over and over and over again. X out the Black American foundation to things. Oh yeah, I got the video you sent me. Yeah, we done talked about this before already with Pig Meat Markham and everything like that. Yeah, I break down. I appreciate the video you sent me, but yeah, we talked about this already. But I appreciate it. If you go to my documentary, the over on Incense and Ashtrays, we break down Pig Meat Markham out of the 60s. And I also talk about Pig Meat Markham in my interview with Mr. Bobby Rush. Straight up. Pig Meat Markham, these recordings are from the mid 60s. It goes back way before him. I went back to Louis Jordan because Louis Jordan was a little bit before Pig Meat Markham. At least as far as in the mainstream. Pig Meat was around. But whether it's David Carr or Bambaataa or Melle Mel, they X out so much Black American greatness to weasel in somewhat of a point. Well, let me tell you something. The exception has never been the rule. The rule is Black America, Black American music. All right. I'm looking for this part. You gotta watch out for these old niggas. I'm looking for that part in Apache. All of those breaks in Apache, funk breaks, bebop phrasing. Even when you go back to the song Apache, funk breaks that they added because the original version of Apache didn't have those breaks. And bebop phrasing. Dun, 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 dun. Short staccato notes. That's bebop. And although Apache was a hot song for a little bit, when they added the funk on top of it, that's not the sound that sustained hip hop. That's not the sound that sustained hip hop. It was the funk break beats, the funk rhythms that sustained hip hop. Okay? Again, I want to say thank you to New Orleans for not being the same way with jazz. Thank you, Kansas City, for not being that way for Kansas City for bebop. Thank you, Memphis, for not being that way with Southern Soul and the Memphis blues. Thank you, Chicago, for not being this way with blues. Thank you, Chicago, for not being this way with house. Thank you, LA, for not being this way with disco. Thank you, Philadelphia, for not being this way with disco. Thank you, Seattle, for not being this way with rock and roll and heavy metal. Thank you to all the different areas of Black America that created a spark of something new and allowed it to flourish around the rest of the country. I want to thank all y'all for not being like these niggas out of the Bronx. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For not being selfish. Thank you, DC and Go-Go. All right? Rocky's ready for a walk, and I'm ready to get the hell on out of here. Thank y'all for listening. And remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. You hip-hop old niggas, y'all don't own this. Y'all don't own the history. This isn't for you to give away. Cholly Rock, Melle Mel, this isn't for you to give away. You don't own the rights of the culture that you inherited. You don't have that authority. And neither do I. The only authority I have is to speak for the ancestors that can't speak for themselves anymore. That's my authority. To give credit to the forgotten. To show love to the forsaken. Appreciate the super chat, the Cash App to here, and AJ. I may appreciate both of y'all for the Cash Apps. Much appreciated to hear. Much appreciated, AJ. All right. Thank y'all again for listening. Yeah, Detroit for Motown. Yeah. We can go down the line of Black American greatness. No one else keeps it for their little small area like a fucking Bronx nigga. Yeah, even Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance was for Black America. All right. Thank y'all again for listening. We out.